I'm extremely bullish on Palantir myself. But I think like if they ever want to reach that $1 trillion market cap, I think they have to go B2C.
Yeah.
What do you think it'll take for them to go to B2C and be a household name, kind of like the same way we can download Microsoft? Maybe we can one day download Palantir and use it at home for something, or use it on our phones. Do you ever see something like that happening?
Yeah, me and Tom just talked about this in our podcast. He made a good point that I didn't even think of. He said the top 20 companies in the world outside of Salesforce, and Salesforce is like number 22, have some B2C element of their business. So it's hard, and I really didn't think of it. It's hard to be a B2B business without having any level of consumer, just because at the end of the day, the enterprise is even though enterprise sales is, big market, but you got to appeal to the masses. I don't know. I think they will come out with a product that is able to work with consumers. I'm just a little less bullish on what does that look like, because the way Tom was describing it to me was like it's this AI assistant on steroids that's going to tell you everything on how to optimize your life. And I'm like, okay, I would want to see what that looks like, because I feel like, we would have to give that device a lot of our data. And what we've seen with the Facebook stuff is like people hate, people say they hate it, but they still do it. But they hate giving their data to these centralized data aggregators like Facebook and Google. And then, you see an ad about Twix. And because you were thinking about Twix and you're like, is this company like in my brain? Like, how do they know I care about chocolate right now? And how are they serving me this ad? It's weird. So if we were to have this AI virtual assistant in our phone that we were able to give all of our data to, and then this thing was able to spew out recommendations on how to optimize our life, either the public and the consumers love that because it's this like thing that's a second part of them. It's almost their twin identity, the most optimized version of it, or it's super creepy. I think the creepy part is not going to be that much of a concern in the next 5-10 years, but I do want to know, what will this thing actually say to help you optimize your life? Is it sleep? Is it calories? Is it relationships? Is it productivity? All that stuff. I think if they were able to create something like that leveraged off data, though, it could be big. It's just a question of what does that actually do? But I think you are correct. In order to become a $1 trillion company in the next 10-20 years, they have to do something around consumers.
Are you bullish on any other stocks other than Palantir? Any other recommendations, or not recommendations, but anything you're bullish on personally?
I'm trying to get more into a firm. I really like them right now, especially at this price. I don't own any of them yet.
Okay.
I know there was a probe just launched by the FBI into buy now, pay later companies. And I was like, I'm so happy I didn't buy. I was ready to pull the trigger a couple of days ago, but I just didn't. I was like, and that's the thing. That's the thing I learned a lot as a young investor, because I made mistakes. I would buy stocks just for no reason, just because like the name sounded cool. And now I'm just like, firm seems good. It's down like 40%. It seems like a good price, but I know nothing about this company. So it's like, do I really want to do this? And if I knew something about buy now, pay later, I would probably know that maybe it's a little sketchy with the SEC. Like it's not the coolest thing in the world with the government, even if it's cool for consumers. And I would have known that before making that decision, which is why I'm happy I didn't make that decision, because there's price tanked even lower when that FBI thing came out. So I like a firm. I need to learn more about them. I've heard a lot about SoFi. I don't know anything about them. I'm still trying to understand.
Tom is bullish on SoFi.
Yeah, I don't know what they do. To me, they're like a Robinhood competitor, but like on steroids again, because they do everything around financial services. I feel like Robinhood could do the same thing. So like, I don't know. Not too many other stocks. TDoc is one I'm really interested in, especially because Kathy has a lot of money put in that. Like when I saw her position at the level of billions, I was like, what is Teladoc? Like, what is telemedicine? Like, what exactly is this thing? So I need to do more research on that. But those would be 3 stocks that I'm interested in.
Cool. Yeah, are you like a big Kathy Wood fan?
Yes, and I'm actually doing a video tomorrow analyzing this fucking 24-minute article that she just published, trying to understand what she's trying to say. The reason I'm super bullish on her is because I'm like, either she's going to be right or she's going to be wrong. And there was a video where someone asked her in an interview, like recently, they're like, what will happen if you're wrong? And she looked that interviewer dead in the face. And she was like, my team did a research and I believe in the research.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yo.
Yeah, you have to respect that. I think she gets her criticism from like the old school value investor, like where they want to be able to understand a company. They want to be able to look at the financials and tell you, look, this company is worth $75 and it's at $60. I have room to make money. If you're not doing that, then, they have like these orthodox old school kind of value investors that hate everybody and, it's their way or the highway. But my opinion on it is like, we're all value investors, right? We want to buy a stock cheaper than what it's worth. Obviously, we all want to make money, but I would say we're more like GARP. We want to pay for growth at a reasonable price. So that only comes with how much you understand the technology, right? So I gave this analogy the other day to some actually on Tom's Discord. We were talking about, look, if there's this guy I was talking to, he's in Israel, and I was like, let's say you found a rock, right? And you understand that that rock can be burned and used for whatever that's going to make billions of dollars, but no one else understands that rock. And it's selling for $10, and everybody's like, oh, it's too expensive. But you understand the potential of that rock. You know that it can change the world. So you're going to pay $20 for it.
Right.
So sometimes it's a matter of just really understanding what the potential is. And that's why for me, I'm in healthcare, and I was talking to you about that company, RBOT. I see the potential in it. For me, I feel like, okay, it's cheap right now. I think it's going to change the way they do robotic surgery. So I'm bullish on it. But I think that's the issue with Cathie Wood. Just a lot of the things that she's involved with, especially like around genomics and different things, it's just not easily understood.
Yeah.
Even recently, I forgot what major old school. It's one of Warren Buffett circle. They asked him about I think Microsoft or some basic company, and he's like, oh, it's too complicated. That's why I don't invest in it. I was like, man, it's like, I think it was Microsoft. It was something that was like, Microsoft is not that complicated, bro. It's like, so it's just like a lot of these old school guys that they don't want things to change.
Well, his philosophy I respected as well, but you got to think about it. Like in 2014, when he had the opportunity to put money in Tesla, I mean, Warren Buffett had hundreds of billions, right? Like he could have damn near bought 10% of the company. I mean, that would be literally worth trillions right now. I mean, like it would be a lot of money. But he didn't understand where the world was going. And like that's the part that whenever I'm starting to doubt Cathie a little bit or doubt her strategy, and obviously it's easy to doubt it when all of her stocks are red right now, you start to remember that fundamental thesis that people are like, oh, she got lucky because it was a bull market. It's like 2016 to 2021 or 2020. Yes, it was a bull market. I don't think it was necessarily a bubble. Obviously, COVID exploded everything. But if you understood in 2016 that there's this company that's getting a shitload of data because all their cars are literally scanning every inch of every mile on the planet, and they don't even have to pay for it. Their customers do it for them by driving the Tesla. And all that data is something that no other company has. Then it doesn't take a rocket science to be like, they're going to figure out how to do this better than anyone quicker. And then you got the leadership and management, and you're like Elon's a visionary, all this stuff. But like at its core, that's a very simple thesis to bet on something in the future, pay a higher price right now without the fundamentals, the PE ratios, everything lining up and making sense in order to get a long-term return and delay your gratification till the end. So like that's where I think her logic makes a lot of sense. Now, is she right on every company? No, obviously Zillow, but the ones that she is going to be right on and that she has a lot of research on, those might end up working and it might make sense to invest in them.
Are you worried about anything else with as far as like macro, the way we're going now, and some tapering going on? They're increasing the tapering, and they've mentioned what their interest rate is, but I think by March they're probably going to change it and give a higher interest rate, and that's going to change a lot of the valuations. Does that concern you to see a lot of like stocks drop because of that macroeconomics effect?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely concerns me. It definitely makes me think Palantir is going to swing. Any high growth tech company is going to swing a little bit more within a certain range, or even go lower before it actually rips. I do think this Build Back Better America plan might not have a chance of passing because as of what happened yesterday, I think a lot of Democrats are also like, yo, I don't think we can keep spending all this money. So I'm really interested in, if you're correct that the interest rates are going to be even higher from their projections because it is actually getting bad, does this plan pass? And if it doesn't pass, that changes a whole different question. Because if it doesn't pass, there is a world in which the stock market actually really loves that. Because they're like, oh, so we're not going to pump all this money, 5 trillion. So like, let's actually, we can like taper a little bit of inflation. It actually has a chance to deflate. But if it does pass, then I don't know. So I think that was the most interesting thing that I saw literally yesterday, that Biden was like, all right, we're going to go back in March. I'm like, March? You promised this. I'm like, I think even Biden's like, maybe this is not the best thing to pass. So I don't know.
And then as far as stocks and anything, do you do anything else? Do you buy options? Do you day trade? Do you swing trade? Or is it just strictly investing?
Strictly investing. Day trade, I'm definitely not a fan of, just because I don't have the mental energy to look at charts and stuff and do that all day. Now, yeah, I'm like, it's stupid. Like if your whole life is dedicated to that and like you got time for that, sure. Or like you at least got a couple hours in the day where you just do that, fine. But otherwise, it's hard. Now, calls and options, I learned a lot about them over the past couple months. Like, I really think I can explain them pretty well if I had to like make a video on what a put is and what a covered call is. All that stuff. But I don't feel comfortable enough to put money behind them, because like at Palantir, I could pay like $200 right now to bet that the stock price goes to 40 by January 2023. And as big of a bull I am, I'm like, that's of course $40 by January 23. That's no brainer. But I'm also like, but what if it doesn't, right? And what if I just had those shares versus like, now the upside is a little bit less, but it's like, do I want to worry about that just because in 2023 this contract's going to expire? So I think I need more money too. Like, I need a good fund of 10, 15,000 that I'm willing to lose on options. I don't have that right now. So if that happens, then I'll probably make more videos about playing with calls and options and stuff.
Cool. And what's your future on YouTube? You're putting out a lot of videos, great content. But do you feel like the pace is too much for you, or it's a comfortable pace for you?
No, I don't.
So some creators put out so much content, and you can see like some of it seems forced after a while. I don't see that for you at all. I feel like your content